Welcome to your Daily Revolution podcast. Today's topic, average versus greatness. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
My name is Setema, Gali, the founder and creator of the Prosperity Revolution, a global movement that helps you to get out of scarcity and into prosperity every single day. A movement where people have value, things do not, where money is a result of helping people, where you're rewarded for creating value for others, and where prosperity is not the result of luck, but a predictable steps and formulas, and where happiness is the ultimate goal.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the podcast. Grateful to be with you guys today. Thank you for listening. I'm honored that you take time in your life to have me inside of your world, in your vehicle, in your AirPods, or whatever you listen to the podcast on. If it makes a difference, share it forward. Man, I got a message for y'all today. So for y'all, you can tell I've been living down here in Florida because I'm starting to talk like the Floridians down here where I live. I've been thinking about this. I'm in my mid 40s, been through a lot in my life. Obviously, people in their 40s, nearing 50 now, you go through a lot. And this week I've been working with clients, right? I coach people for a living. That's what I do. I sit with CEOs and leaders and entrepreneurs and all kinds of people, which I love. I love my clients. If you are a client, I love you. Thank you so much. You inspire me. Like, I know I help you, but man, you help me tremendously. I'm always deeply moved and touched when I meet with clients and talk and speak and coach. I was working with some clients this week and, they were like, well, what about 2022? And of course, I don't always look at the next year. Like, we don't just look at the next year. When I teach people seasons of life and, casting a big vision, we teach this thing called 30-10-3-1. And I've been to so many seminars and workshops that we finally kind of settled on this. So when I start to set goals, we start at what we call current reality. What are the facts of your life right now? No stories, no meanings, just what are the facts? What's the current reality? Where are you? Physically, where are you? How often do you work out? What's your diet? What's your food? What's your nutrition? What's your routines and rhythms? How strong are you? What's your endurance and stamina like? What does your body look like? What's your body feel like? What's the reality? And we do that through physicality, spirituality, relationships, as well as financial, and I love it. And people in financial, they don't always want to say the reality, like what's in your bank account today? What's your cash flow today? What's in your savings account today? What's your portfolio look like today? And like the truth, which is the most important thing if you're going to change your life. Well, you start at current reality, then we cast and craft this massive vision 30 years out. You go 30 years. Most people think about next year or 2 years, but I'm like, well, what do you want to be 30 years from now? Assuming you live 30 years and it's not your time to die, how do you want to live 30 years from now? How much money do you want to have coming in? So when you retire or you're not again, for me, I'm going to be in my mid to late 70s. I for sure do not want to be stressing and worrying about money. So I have a number. I for sure want to age a certain way and age gracefully and be strong. And I don't want to be that grandpa who, right, just got to crawl around. I want to be as active and as coherent and intelligent and strong and vibrant. So I'm going to condense this and let's get to the meat of the podcast. Again, if this helps, just go check out one of our coaching programs. It makes a huge difference for you. And this is what we teach people to do. 30-year vision or 30-year legacy. Then you reverse into a 10-year vision. Like 30-year legacy, 10-year vision. Well, 30 years is a long ways out, but still you ought to prepare. Now, 10 years, it goes a lot faster. I blinked and I'm 10 years later. 10 years ago at this time, this month, I was in Texas knocking doors on a preseason trip. I had 2 sons at the time. I remember the clothes I used to wear, how I lived, the car that I drove. We had one car at the time. It was a 7-year-old, 200,000 plus miles on it. My father-in-law bought it for us. Bless his heart. He is the man. 10 years. So where do you want to be 10 years from now? How do you want to live? How do you want to feel? What's your daily life experience 10 years from now? I can tell you right now, I'll be in my mid 50s. if I don't get after the game. If I don't hit my numbers, I'm going to be irrelevant in this space. So I want to make sure we get where we got to be to truly live our purpose, to truly make a difference, to truly impact the people we were born to impact. So 30-year legacy, 10-year vision. We reverse now to a 3-year picture. 3 years from now. Now, again, the 10 years is based off of the 30. The 3 years is based off of the 10, right? Where do I need to be 3 years from now so I absolutely hit my 10? Now, none of this works if you are not a person who is serious about going and getting your goals, right? Going and creating a life. And so many people settle. They just settle for mediocrity and they settle for average. And I see this too many times. Life is good. We got first world problems, right? Oh, I hate Chick-fil-A. I don't want to go to In-N-Out. Oh, I don't like this store. That's first world problems. And I don't want that. I can tell you right now, I do not want that in my life. So 30, 10, 3-year picture, 1-year goal, all the way to a 12-week season. Now, I love it because this week I was working with a client, actually 2 clients, and we're talking about 2022. I'm like, well, let's just 2024, 2025. Look, what's the 3-year? 2024. And we looked at the 3-year, we looked at the 10-year. Okay, let's reverse it into 2022. Now, it makes 2022 way easier when you have a bigger vision other than just next year I want to do this. Like, I'm trying to go create this masterpiece of a life because I don't want to settle for average. So why is this so significant? As we're near the end, we're going to see people, oh, there's only 45, 30 days left in 2021. What are you going to make? I'm like, okay, that's cute. That's great. But man, if you are still living like that, it tells me you don't think big enough. You play small, you play average. And so many people that I know play an average life. They just settle for the crumbs at the bottom of the table. Why would you do that? Why would you settle for a life where there is so much abundance and prosperity available and yet you just want to settle for the crumbs? I don't want that. So you got to ask yourself, are you planning for a life of greatness, a life of expansion, or are you settling for average? And you can tell where you're at by just looking at how you plan your life out. I think about living in my 70s. I think about the numbers I want in my bank account. I think about the places I want to travel. I think about, right, how I want to interact with my grandchildren and possibly my great-grandchildren. I think about my sons, their wives, my future daughters-in-law, family reunions, how I want to contribute, how I want to feel every single day, like this thing called daily life experience. And I don't want to be average. Now, I can tell you one of the pitfalls or the traps is that when you get to a level of like some type of financial wealth, and by all means, I'm not saying I'm even there, just saying that when you hit a level where you've got money in the bank, you can go, if something happened in the economy and you could live for another 18 months on your current lifestyle without worrying, it tends to put you into a place of being really, really comfortable. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm comfortable. And I know the problem with being comfortable is that if I don't put myself in uncomfortable situations, then I get really complacent. Being comfortable, if you're not careful, can lead to being complacent. And when you're complacent, you don't grind like you normally do. You don't work like you normally do. You aren't hungry like you normally are because, well, I've got some comfort. I've kind of built a lifestyle of wealth and some freedom and some comfort. Well, guess what? Being comfortable leads to being complacent. Being complacent and the behaviors around being complacent, not as driven and motivated and committed, that leads to typically what I call a crash. A crash is the downward direction. A crash is where, like, because there's a lag, right? There's this law of the lag. What I do today or what I don't do today may not even show up tomorrow, but it's going to show up because you cannot mock God. You cannot fool the universe. So if I don't put the time and energy into my life now, because I built a little bit of comfort, guess what's going to happen? 2 months, 6 months, 12 months from now. I'm so far behind, but now, right, life has moved on and I haven't. Because you go from comfortable to complacent to a crash, at the end of a crash is what we call a crisis. In the crisis is where your back is against the wall. You're some type of emotionally or spiritually bankrupt. You haven't put in the work spiritually. You haven't developed your skills. You haven't kept up with taxation and inflation and just life. And now you're behind. It shows in your bank account. It shows in your happiness. It shows in your body. You see, how in the world do people go from being healthy and vibrant to just overweight couch potatoes? Well, I can tell you. We have first world problems. We just eat every meal out and overeat and eat with food and celebrate with food. And that's how it happens. I can tell you right now, from being comfortable to complacent to a crash to a crisis, now you got to really dig out. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's happened a number of times in my life. And this is why I'm leaving this message. Are you going to live a life of being average? Or are you going to chase and create greatness and excellence? Are you going to be okay with being mediocre? Mediocre in your bank account, mediocre in the way you connect with your spouse, mediocre in the way you bring up your children, mediocre in the way you connect with God or your purpose, mediocre in your body, just like average, mediocre, a 2. Or are you going to go for greatness and excellence? You're going to go for the greatest life possible. It's up to you, my friends. Now, when you're in this crisis on the bottom and this crash on the bottom, you got to get out of it. You got to pull out. And you do that by just getting really clear about what you want, committing to do the work, and then doing the work every single day and doing stuff that's hard, doing stuff that's uncomfortable. I'm actually at the gym right now on a Saturday morning. I got here about 7:00 this morning shooting this podcast. It's cold and I had some things to handle. I always do some things on my phone, some of my daily rituals before I walk into the gym. And I felt like shooting this podcast today. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm in a place where if I'm not careful, if I do not get uncomfortable daily, if I do not push myself daily, if I don't set bigger goals and bigger visions and craft big visions, I'll be like most people. Got a little bit of money. Okay, cool. They'll do a little bit of good. I don't want what most people have. I want to be used the way God created me to be, which is a beacon of light. I want to live my purpose. And what is my purpose? To influence, to impact, and to inspire people. To be this leader, this lover, and this lighthouse for my family. For other people's families. To make a difference for people who are stuck so they can look up and say, hey, I can overcome this thing. I can absolutely overcome this thing. I'm telling you right now, we have clients today that have come through our programs as a result of what myself as well as my team, right? Our whole organization. People come to our programs in immersion and they're feeling stuck. They're in crisis. They're in a crash. They're things have caught up. Relationships are not where they want to be. They're physically not where they want to be. They're just unhappy, even though they're financially good. And I've seen people go erase multiple 6 figures of debt, multiple 6 figures of old tax. I've seen people make moves in their relationships where they're like, I'm done with this average, mediocre, not even being in love and just staying together for the kids. I've seen people make tough decisions and make moves. I've seen people go start new businesses. I've seen people pivot, right? Absolutely pivot and turn and go after what they really want. I have seen so many miracles in my business because people are tired of being average and they want to be great and they want to go to another level and they're not afraid to say it. So where are you, my friends? Are you willing to go craft and cast this big vision? Are you willing to go do the things that's required? Or are you just going to settle for the crumbs at the bottom of the table? And I can tell you, most people don't care about you. And they don't have to. But I'll tell you this, I care. This is my whole life. Coaching, inspiring, impacting, making a difference for people. Helping people to wake up and to live a life of total fulfillment, of contribution, of impact, of really living. I love what Mel Gibson as Braveheart in the movie Braveheart, one of my most favorite movies. It's like I watch it once a year. I really do. And he's like, all men die. Not all men live. And so if you find yourself in a spot where it's just like you're going through some tough times, you're just unsure, Look, you don't do anything, get ready to settle for mediocrity, average. And if you're okay with that and you don't want to be great and you don't want to have a life of greatness and impact and contribution and just like legacy, great. I still love you. That stuff doesn't change how I feel about human beings. Jesus said, love everyone. I'm going to love people. But if you are a person that just knows deep in your heart and soul, man, there is more for my life. There is more for my life of where I'm at, and I don't want to settle for the crumbs of average and mediocrity. Rise up. Step up. And whether you come to one of our programs or listen to someone else's podcast, I don't care who you hire or who you buy a book from or who you listen to. Get up, wake up, let's go. And get uncomfortable. Now, do something hard every day. Do some hard stuff every day. I'm about to go work out. I've worked out 5 days already this week. Actually 6 times, right? We lift and then we cardio. We lift and then we cardio. I'm in an age where my body's just, I feel like I eat something with a lot of carbs and I put on like 10 pounds. That's what I feel like. And I'm like, holy smokes. So I got to go do hard things today. I got to push my body today. I've got some things to take care of with my family. It's a Saturday today. I've already got my whole day lined out and like it's a family day today. Like I got to get my workout in this morning because that's my time because I want to be great. Like, do you even know what you want? Listen, I'm going to end this podcast. I'm going to go get a workout in. 30-10-3-1. Look, if you want help to know how to set goals, you want help to know how to go craft a life. You want help to start being the person you could be and doing the things you said you would do. If you want that kind of help, go to Champions Huddle, championshuddle.com. That's one of our groups. We're about to change the pricing on this thing from $400 to $97 a month. Yes, you heard it, to $97 a month. We're going to build a community of people who want to live, who want to grow, who want more, who want to be better. And they're committed to doing the work. It's not just talk. It's just not being addicted to seminars and podcasts. We're actually going to put the rubber on the road. We're actually going to put boots on the ground. We're going to go do the work. All right, my friends, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. As you can tell, I'm pretty jacked up this morning because I'm pretty hyped up and hopped up because I don't want to live a life of being average and mediocre. And it's a battle I fight every day. There's demons and dragons I'm going to slay every day. Typically, those demons and dragons are doubt and fear. I mean, that's really the only thing that stops you, but that's for another podcast. Thank you for listening, my friends. Have an amazing day. Share this forward with somebody. Screenshot it. Tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook. And thank you for listening. I'm out.
This is your daily revolution. Live in prosperity, we show you how to do it. There's no luck about it, we got the strategic blueprint. This is your daily revolution. You already know. And if you don't, then check my resume. Turning pressure into possibilities every day. We all can win and live our unique purpose. We change our mindsets and put the work in. This is your daily revolution. Daily revolution. Revolution. Your daily revolution podcast.